So I just got out of court, left out with my order. Child, listen, I had to fight for that order. You hear me? Boy, I had to fight for that order. I had to make the judge reverse all his decisions, all his orders, all his motions. Y'all ain't got so bad. I had went filed a police report on the judge because I'm like, I guess they were getting flustered because I was sitting there with documentation back to back, back to back, back to back, hitting them with a flurry of emotions, not backing down, not backing down. Man, listen, they ordered, okay, so I had a magistrate judge, and listen, y'all, even dealing with it, my ego, it did clash. A lot of times it's like, are they picking on me? Because I'm thinking, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I was giving them so much paperwork and everything was legit. Everything was legit. I done had to go this whole situation because I felt like it got out of hand. I felt like I started off doing one case, ended up getting into it with the judge. He's sending constables to do private process serving. They making slick remarks under their breath. I'm in fear for my life. I'm not knowing what's going on. I'm reading the orders. I'm like, oh my God, these are blanketed statements. It's way too ambiguous for me to try to interpret it. So I'm over there like, you know, just holding on to all the negativity because I was baptized in negativity. You know what I'm saying? Not metaphorically, of course. But when I say baptized in negativity, like that's like my clutch. That's like something I can run to for comfortability. But I had to break up out of that. And y'all, I feel so alive. I feel like, you know how when you play Mario or they play the little Donkey Kong game and they pick up the hammer and all the little coins go out. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I feel so alive. I feel so good. This is how, I put on there, this is how I beat my eviction. Bitch, I beat the first level. When you first go to a writ of eviction or a writ of ejectment, first you gotta see if it's up under property and tenants. If it's up under property and tenants, that has to do with a non-lease ejectment. Now, sometimes some states they end up titling, you know, certain writs, certain things that's not active no more. But the proper terminology for the execution of a eviction after a writ has been ordered in favor of the landlord would be a writ of dispossession. But a lot of times they use writ of ejectment, but writ of ejectment, that blurs the line because that'll make an officer or a constable come to your house and be aggressive because they think that you're a squatter. A writ of ejectment only applies to people who do not have leases, right? Thank God I had a lease. And I'm taking this all the way to appellate. Well, we already in appeal court. But yeah, they try to say, they'll try to be like, oh, well, this writ of ejectment has to do with your eviction. No, when them constables and people come to your house to take you out, they're gonna be aggressive. And then you'll pull out the camera and all this, that, and the third, and you'll be like, why they pulling out the camera? Hey, peekaboo. Hey, baby. But yeah, they're going to be like, well, why are you pulling out cameras? Because, y'all, they're going to be real aggressive because they put your eviction under a writ of ejectment, which means that y'all didn't have a lease. But thank God I had a lease and I didn't have to go through that. So how did I beat your call of the cops? You on roll. Boy, shut up. Anyway, go take a nap. Anyway, so y'all, the number one secret code, because I done been on here, it say for 3 minutes. So the number one secret code, y'all, how did I beat my eviction? So if y'all going through the first preliminary round, because I swear this was like the preliminary round, it's like if you can't get through the magistrate, you don't deserve to be in appellate court. If you cannot break through that magistrate court and get, listen, once they file that writ of eviction, that magistrate gonna go so hard on you. They're gonna try to deny your motions. They're gonna try to be like, if you ask them, because you know usually when you go and file an appeal, there's a bond that gets put in place. They're gonna try to make it where your bond is just out of this world. They're gonna make it where your orders are just out of this world. Y'all, I had to fight that magistrate tooth and nail and finally got an order today for him to reverse all orders that he issued after my appellate case was found. Me and him was literally tugging and arguing for jurisdiction. He was trying to say he had jurisdiction over me, and I was sitting there telling him, you ain't got no jurisdiction. But go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all, I'm going to drop the code for y'all. So if you're in the state of South Carolina, or you know someone in South Carolina who's dealing with an eviction, give them this code. Title 27, Chapter 40, Section 800D. it clearly says, and it's to be liberally construed. It clearly says that if the bond modification that a magistrate gives you to stay a writ of ejectment is not to your fancy, you bring a bond reconsideration within 5 days to the appeals court or to your local circuit court or to your appellate court. Long as you take a bond of consideration in 5 days, the magistrate judge automatically has to stay and you cannot get evicted. I see so many people, especially in the state of South Carolina, they be getting evicted. I be seeing people when I be up there filing paperwork, they be like, damn, yo, I got evicted. And I'm like, who you get evicted from? They like, the magistrate. I'm like, damn, you ain't even make it past the magistrate. And the magistrate, they're just in place because statutory code, they're the first one. If you deserve to go to appellate court. If you can make it through magistrate court, you deserve to go to appellate court. I don't give a damn what nobody say. People trying to downplay magistrate court because they like, oh, those are small claims. Y'all listen, when I tell y'all, magistrate court was hard as hell. Now, and I'm not gonna lie, I am in appellate court now, so I know proceedings are gonna be more formal. But when I was in magistrate court, those proceedings, y'all, when I tell y'all that they ruled in favor of that plaintiff, I had dropped a bias packet on the judge, and I was like, listen, I want to recuse you, transfer, and do a motion of vacatur so I can move my entire case to a whole nother district or whatever. And I was like, you're biased. I had went through his records and saw that he ruled in favor of the plaintiff almost 30 times. Print up all those records, and then I attached it to a motion to recuse him, okay? And then he was like, look, this motion is denied. He denied all my motions, y'all. Listen, this magistrate was so mean. Anybody else, y'all, they would have folded. They would have not been able to handle it. But thank God I filed my lawsuit in a state, in a county where the appellate court is literally 10 minutes from magistrate court. So, y'all, I've been up here at court almost every day, hitting the docket. You know how people, they'll put up their hand like, shoot. Yo, the clerk of court who was in appellate court, she was in there sticking the papers, doing the timestamp. She was like, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, all these motions, all these orders. So this is the thing about magistrate court. This is how they can trap you back in jurisdiction. So this is one thing. So when people get to talk about jurisdiction, they be like, sometimes they be on that sovereign citizen rhetoric, and that's jurisdiction means that once you're in magistrate court, if someone go file an eviction in magistrate court has jurisdiction. Once you want to appeal it, now appellate court has jurisdiction and magistrate court no longer has jurisdiction. But the thing is, I was dealing with a judge that did not want to let jurisdiction go. He didn't want to let it go. He was trying to hold on to that shit. He's like, nah, bitch, you gonna give me your chain. I'm like, nah, nigga, get my chain back. You ain't about to snatch my chain, nigga. So, yeah, we out there. We was literally going back and forth for jurisdiction, y'all. So, finally, now that I done went to court, y'all, I get into court after he just gave me a writ of ejectment like a few days ago. And we get into court, y'all. He gave me a blanketed statement, super ambiguous. I get an order from a personal constable. He was a server the other day on the 26th. He served me with an order from the judge. The judge was like, okay, you gave me a continuance. He was like, with this continuance, he said I had set a hearing. And I'm like, no, I went ahead and filed motion for a revocation of a hearing. I didn't want to do a hearing with him no more, but in order to protect myself, I went ahead and did a revocation of a hearing with an appeal to stay. And then just to protect myself, because he already put a hearing inside the docket, I went ahead and filed a motion to continuance, and he had approved it. Y'all, came back to court today, and boom, this mug done dropped the whole order in my lap. I'm about to go home and put it in a picture frame, y'all, because we was in court, and he was like, give me your grounds why you shouldn't be evicted today before Labor Day. And I'm like, Title 27, Chapter 40, 800D of the South Carolina Commercial Code clearly states that once you make an appeal for the reconsideration of the bond jurisdiction that's been solely divested into the Court of Common Pleas, it is no longer with that magistrate judge no more. None. So I had to give him that code, and then I gave him my docket number. He done gave me an order to stay. I done talked to the people at appellate court. They like, listen, it's going to take us almost 2-3 months just to schedule your hearing. So if you know somebody that's going through an eviction, send them this video, y'all. Oh my God. I get to tighten up my merits to the case, and I still get to stay in my house. Of course, tender a performance. but at the same time, I technically don't have to pay rent. So if you dealing with an eviction, send in this. I swear to God, I think every state has this code, y'all. They cannot evict me. I'm gonna be in here almost until November, December, until appellate court schedules a hearing. And of course, when you go to appellate court, you better be prepared. So once you do a bond reconsideration and appellate court sets your first hearing, the first hearing that they set for you is going to be a bond hearing. So when you go to the bond hearing, you do not discuss the merits of the case, but you let them know that you do not deserve to pay rent while your appeal is pending, because you should not be punished for a proper appellate review. That's what you tell the judge when you go back for your bond hearing. You should not be punished because to make someone force you to pay cash for your rent, that is absurd. They can't force you to pay cash. They have to accept other forms of payment or performance. They can't just take cash. Cash is legal tender, but the United States hasn't banned lawful tender. If they did, we wouldn't have value that move on paper. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all know somebody that's dealing with an eviction, tell them this code. Tell them to go look up Title 27, Chapter 40, 800D. Look it up in the South Carolina State Code. More than likely, every state has a code just like this. If you feel like you cannot beat your eviction, if you feel like your magistrate judge got their foot on your neck, they are not trying to do a motion for injunctive relief. They are not trying to do a motion to dismiss. They did not check the other party's proper standing or jurisdiction. You feel like this magistrate is railroad you. Listen to what I'm telling you. Soon as you go to court and your magistrate says, hey, look, after you go to court for an eviction, immediately after you leave, you go to appellate court, hurry up, go file the appeal. If you don't have the money to file an appeal, you file an IFP and put the IFP on file with 4 check stubs with an affidavit. It takes them about maybe a week for your IFP to go through. Soon as that go through, you don't have to pay for motions. My motions was $25 a piece, but I filed IFP, so everything was free. Y'all, soon as you go file that appeal, once the appellate court calls you and say, hey, look, we accepted your IFP, magistrate court is going to call you back and they're going to say, all right, we see that your IFP got accepted into the common court of pleas, the appellate court. Now we're going to set you a continuance because the magistrate is going to try to set you a bond before you even get your body inside the appellate court, but your paperwork in appellate court. So then when the judge sets your continuance and you go to the judge, say your rent $1,000, you go to court and they're not trying to hear shit that you saying. They like, look, we want you to pay $1,000 in 2 days. Soon as they give you that order, you take that order to the Court of Appeals and you tell the circuit court, add this into my case file as an appeal. Do not sit on after you have an appeal the order from magistrate, you do not sit on that order. Take the order to the appellate court and appeal it. Take the order the judge gave you, put on a cover letter that says, this has been appealed for decision. And then you put that on the docket in appellate court. Y'all, I just gave y'all free jewels. If you know anybody that's going through eviction, give them this video. It's getting cold. Don't watch your people suffer, y'all. I'm telling y'all, this shit work. Title 27, Chapter 40, 800D. And I stand on it. I might even get some shit tattooed on me. Alright? Listen, if you know anybody dealing with eviction, give them this. Also, what I didn't tell you, after you file the order that the judge gives you into appeal court, you go back to appeal court with your motion to reconsider the judge's order. So on top of the cover letter, right behind your cover letter for the judge's appeal for the order that he issued for the bond, you put behind that cover letter a motion for the common court of pleas to reconsider and reduce bond. And that reconsideration is what triggers Title 27, Chapter 40, 800D. If you know any single mothers, you know anybody dealing with eviction in South Carolina, they just now got a notice for eviction, give them this video. Listen, they is not going to tell y'all this. I had to break this shit down, y'all. I just walked out of court. I've been going back and forth to court almost for 5 weeks. They will not give y'all this information. I was at eviction court. The person beside me had a lawyer and still lost. They still lost. If you know somebody dealing with an eviction, get them this video. I love y'all to life. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace. And go check out my GoFundMe. I'm going to put it in my bio. Peace.